We are the only race that will allow its members to sabotage and destroy its progress over petty differences, jealousies, and envy. No other race will allow any organization, any church, any member of its community to destroy the collective progress of the entire race. Nobody allows that except Negroes. Nobody allows that except Negroes. Let me give you an example. The gangster rap community is out of control. The gangster rap community is out of control. I just heard another young rapper was murdered in Louisiana. I just heard another young rapper was murdered in Louisiana. I just heard another young rapper was murdered in Louisiana. I just heard this. And I'm trying to understand why the elders in the hip hop community don't put no law and order to these hip hop streets. I'm trying to understand why the black community doesn't impose law and order on the gangster rap community. I don't understand this. I do not understand. Actually, I do, self-hate. But I need you to understand we're the only race that will allow its children to destroy the whole race. We will let the black bourgeoisie destroy the whole race. We'll let the black feminists destroy the whole race. We'll let the manosphere destroy the whole race. We'll let the rainbow gangers destroy the whole race. We'll let the anti-Africans destroy the whole race. We're the only race of people that destructs from within. If you want the Chinese to go away, you're going to have to defeat the Chinese. They're not going to defeat themselves. If you want the Arabs to go away, you got to defeat the Arabs. They're not going to defeat themselves. If you want the European Jews to go away, you're going to have to defeat the European Jews. They're not going to self-destruct. If you want the Anglo-Saxons, if you want the British, if you want the Mexicans to go away, you're going to have to defeat them. They're not going to self-destruct. Nobody has to defeat African people. We're doing a good enough job ourselves. No one has to defeat African people. We're doing a good enough job ourselves. No one has to defeat African people. We are doing a good enough job on our own. Number two, we are the only race in the country, the only one, who believes that the government should solve all of its major problems. Nobody else believes this but Negroes. $2 trillion. $2 trillion of buying power. And we want to sit around and wait for a reparations check. I support reparations. I support reparations. I believe in reparations. But I don't believe in sitting around waiting for a check from the government before I get up off my ass and do something for my community. That is a cop-out. That is an excuse. And that ain't nothing but escapism. That is a cop-out. That is an excuse. And that is nothing but escapism. You should not have to wait on the government to solve your problems. And the reason black folks love waiting on the government to solve your problems is because, number one, self-hate, and you have no racial integrity or political character. We as a race have very little racial integrity, very little racial character. As one brother called it, a racial ego. Black people don't have a racial ego. You disrespect Chinese, they gonna come at your ass. You disrespect the European Jews, they gonna come at your ass. You disrespect the Anglo-Saxons, they gonna come at your ass. You disrespect the Arabs, they gonna come at your ass. You disrespect the Mexicans, they gonna come at your ass. You disrespect black folks, we will forgive you, and we will ask you to be more compassionate and understanding and merciful towards us. We're the only group without a racial ego. We are the only race. This is why we are the doormats for everybody else in the country. This is why we are the doormats for everybody else in the country. You cannot insult another race and think you're going to get away with it. You cannot insult another race and think you can get away with it. But you can insult black folks, and we will forgive you before you get arrested. We will forgive you before you go to jail. We will forgive you before you have been charged with a crime. We will forgive you before you have been acquitted. Before you have been convicted. We will forgive you before you have been sentenced for any time. That's black folks. Black folks. Go ask the European Jews. Have they forgiven the Nazis yet? Go ask the European Jews if they have forgiven the Nazis yet. Go ask them. Go ask them, doesn't your religion teach forgiveness? So why haven't you forgiven the Nazis? You know why they haven't forgiven the Nazis? Because what the Nazis did to the European Jews was not a mistake. It was intentional. You don't forgive intentional racial tragedy and abuse and genocide. You don't forgive genocide. Who in a right mind would forgive an act of genocide? It's the worst crime you can commit against humanity. It's the worst crime. Genocide is the worst crime you can commit against another people. And black folks are forgiving white folks for slavery because your self-esteem is so low. Your self-esteem is so low, you want to be accepted by white folks. You want to be accepted by white folks. You want acceptance. And we're sitting around begging the government to stop crime in our community. That's insane. That is insane that black mothers and black fathers, that is insane that black elders are calling the white government to come and patrol their black children. I need you to see how sick this is. I need you to step back. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand how sick and insane and irresponsible it is. We got millions of black adults in this country. We have millions of black adults in this country. We have millions of black adults in this country. And instead of us getting out in the streets of Chicago, getting out in the streets of Indianapolis, getting out in the streets of Baltimore, getting out in the streets of New York City, getting out in the streets of Atlanta and Philadelphia and Little Rock and Mobile, Alabama, getting out in the streets of New Orleans and Phoenix and LA and Oakland, Milwaukee and Detroit, instead of all the black adults organizing ourselves and going out into the street to tell our children, we now have a community patrol. We now have a community patrol in uniform. Black men and women in uniform. Community patrol. We have our own curfew, our own rules. Put your hands on a black woman, we're going to whip your ass right there in the street. Disrespect your mother, we're going to whip your ass right there in the street. Disrespect an elder, we're going to whip your ass right there in the street. And we dare your little young ass to pull out a gun. We dare your little young ass to pull out a gun. We double, triple, quadruple dare your young ass to pull out a gun. It'll be the last time you pull out anything in your life. But the problem is, number one, black people too lazy to take their destiny into their own hands. Slavery destroyed the spirit of independence in black people. Slavery destroyed the spirit of independence in black people. Slavery destroyed the spirit of independence in African people. We want the government to save us from our children. I need y'all to hear what I'm saying right now. I need your third eye wide open. Black people in 21st century America wants the government to save them from the children they raised. You want the government to save you from the children you gave birth to. That is insane. That is insane. That is, how you going to give birth to an entire community of black children, raise them the wrong way, educate them the wrong way, rear them the wrong way, socialize them the wrong way, and then when they get out of control, you tell the government, I need you and the racist police. I need you and the racist police to come into my community and save me from my children. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. We don't want responsibility for nothing that involves the collective. That makes the Negro unique in American society. You don't want no responsibility for nobody who looks like you except you and your children. You don't want responsibility for anyone who looks like you except your children. The epitome of selfishness. The next point relates to the concept of power sharing. Power sharing. Negroes in America are the only people in the country who believe in sharing power with other race groups. Let me say it again. No other group in this country is thinking about sharing power with another group. They're not trying to share political power. They're not trying to share financial power. They're not trying to share intellectual power, social power. No group, no race in America believes in power sharing. They believe in power accumulation. They believe in power domination. The European believes in power accumulation and domination. The Asian believes in power accumulation and domination. The Mexican, the Arab, the East Indian, the Latino, they believe in power accumulation and power domination. Negroes believe in power sharing. You want to share power with the whites. You want to share power with the Arabs. You want to share power with the Mexicans. You want to share power with the Chinese. You want to share power with the European Jews. You want to share power with the East Indians. Can I ask you a question? Can you show me any race in America that shares anything with another race? Show me. Give me an example of power sharing in the black community. Excuse me, between races in this country or anywhere around the world. There's no such thing as interracial power sharing. There's interracial marriage. There's interracial sex. There's interracial babies, but there's no interracial power sharing. Nobody shares power with another race except politically uneducated black people. And you know why you're so interested in power sharing? Number one, you're scared of white folks. Number two, you have low racial self-esteem. Number three, you've been brainwashed by your religion. There we go. You've been brainwashed by your religion. There we go. You've been brainwashed by your religion. We're the only people in the country. Peculiar characteristics of the Negro psyche. We're the only people in the country. Peculiar characteristics of the Negro psyche. We're the only people in the country who let religion and our religious beliefs dictate our political economic behavior. Nobody else does that. Nobody else. I don't care. I don't care what the white man's Bible says about being a brother to every Christian. They don't follow that when it comes time to accumulate power. I don't care what the Arab's Quran says about being a brother to humanity. They don't practice that when it comes time for power domination. I don't care what the European Jews' Torah says about being a brother to humanity. They don't practice that when it comes to power domination and accumulation. Only black folks will let a 2,000-year-old book, a 1,500-year-old book, a 5,000-year-old book dictate how you interact with your enemies in the 21st century. That makes you an imbecile. That makes you a fool. That makes you a political moron. Who in their right mind, living in the 21st century, living in the 21st century, you're going to let your political and economic behavior in the 21st century get dictated by a book that was written in the 1st century or the 6th century? You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. You don't let a religious book from 2,000 years ago dictate how you deal with other people in the 21st century. I'm just giving you the facts. If you don't like the message of Pan-Africanism, hop off the live. If you don't like the message of Pan-Africanism, hop off the live. See, I don't watch nobody else's lives because ain't nobody talking about nothing I want to hear. I go live to educate. I don't go live to talk about people's personal business. I don't go live to try to character assassinate nobody. I don't go live to talk about sports. I don't go live to talk about rap. I don't go live to talk about celebrity gossip. I go live to raise the consciousness of African people. Stop letting your religion rule your political and economic decisions. If you need the Bible and the Quran to give you permission to fight for black people, you deserve to be taken advantage of. If you need a religious book to give you permission to fight for your people, you deserve to be taken advantage of. Religion over race. Religion before race. Religion instead of race. See, this is one of the things that made Mr. Garvey so great. This is one of the things that made Marcus Mosiah, the most honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the greatest black leader of the 20th century and the greatest human organizer ever. He was the only leader after slavery. He was the only leader after slavery who organized us with an African consciousness. Marcus Garvey is the only mass leader post-slavery in America to organize us with an African consciousness. Everybody after Garvey brought you a damn church and a religion. Everybody did. Every last one of the post-Garvey copycat leaders, every last one of the post-Garvey copycat leaders, every last one of the post-Garvey copycat leaders brought you a damn religion and took you away from African consciousness. Every last one. And we've been practicing religion over race ever since. And we've been talking religion over race. I'm not against your religion. Revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, we believe in freedom of religion. Revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, we believe in freedom of religion. But if your religion doesn't allow you to be black, if your religion doesn't allow you to prioritize your people's liberation, if you tell me, Dr. Umar, my religion does not allow me to be part of a black liberation struggle, then your religion is an enemy of African people. If your religion does not allow you to fight for African liberation, then your religion is an enemy of African people. We are the only group in this country who believes in religion over race, and that is why we are where we are. Nobody else puts religion over race but Negroes. Nobody. Show me a group that practices religion over race. I want to see this. Show me one. Anywhere in the country. Show me one. You can't find it. You can't find it. And do you know why everybody is race first except Negroes? Do you know why everybody is race first? Because the most organic, the most natural, the most pure, the most essential, the most undiluted thing you have that you belong to is your race. Nothing is more basic than your race. The only group you can never get out of is your race. The only group you can never change is your race. You could change your fraternity. You can change your sorority. You can change your lodge. You can change your religion. You can change your profession. You can change your language. You can change your nationality. You can't change your race. You can't change your race. And so that is why the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, we must learn to practice race first. We must learn to put race over religion. That's why we say African family first. AFF. African family first. I have nothing against no other group. You shall have nothing against no other group. But in all things political, in all things intellectual, in all things economic, in all things social, in all things spiritual, I will put my people's agenda and concerns and issues above those of any other group. No other group has ever fought for black people. They have only fought for individuals of black people. I'm going to say it again. Understand, overstand, and understand me. No other race has ever fought to elevate African people as a race. They might have fought for certain black groups. They might have fought for certain black individuals. They have never fought to elevate us as a race. They never have, and they never will.